narrating the entire waqia of the Ashabul Kahf. So what is this waqia? What is this story that is mentioned in the Quran Sharif? And that which Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam mentioned to the kuffar, proving to them that he is a Nabi of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and that he has been given knowledge of the ghaib. Proving to them that he has been given knowledge of the ghaib, the knowledge of the unseen, knowledge that only comes from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Why? Because the waqia of the Ashabul Kahf took place hundreds of years before the blessed birth of Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the Yahud, they recognize that if he knows this waqia, if he knows this story, what happened to the Ashabul Kahf, then he is a Nabi of Allah. So it is mentioned, this waqia, that after the time of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, the people of the Injil, they started to worship idols. Their religiousness, their piety that Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam gifted them with was lost. There was no deen of Allah. And the king of that time, by the name of Daqyanus, he was a very oppressive and tyrant king. And he would force people in the town that he was the king of that area to worship idols. And anyone who does not worship idols would be killed. This was the punishment, that anyone who does not involve himself in idol worship, then he will be killed. He will be given the punishment of death. So everyone, out of the fear of the king, would worship idols, even individuals who were faithful, even individuals who had iman. Out of the fear of death, they would listen to the command of the king, and they would do whatever the king asked them to do. But in this town, there were 7 individuals. There were 7 individuals who had such iman that they did not want to fall into this trap of the king, and so they left. These were 7 young men who decided to leave the town. And they ran away from this area, found a cave hidden, and they went inside of that cave and stayed there so that no one could see them, no one could find them. So they went to this cave, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions, إِذْ أَوَى الْفِتْيَةُ إِلَى الْكَهْفِ فَقَالُوا رَبَّنَا آتِنَا مِن لَدُنْكَ رَحْمَةً وَهَيِّئْ لَنَا مِنْ أَمْرِنَا رَشَدًا. That these young individuals, this group of 7 young individuals, they went away, hid in the cave for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. For the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, seeking that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala keeps them guided on the right path. Because if they stay in the area of the king, then they will be forced into idol worship. So they run away for the sake of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And while they're in the cave, the king, he finds out, he has his agents, and they go out to see where these 7 young individuals have disappeared. So they find out that they have went to this cave. So the king, he tells one of his agents to go there to that cave and block the entrance of the cave. Block the entrance of that cave so that they stay there, they're not able to escape, and that cave will become their grave. This is their punishment. This is what the king, Daqyanus, decided, that is going to be their punishment, that cave will now be their grave, they will stay there. Block it off so that they're not able to escape. That is their punishment for leaving my rule, for leaving my command. So the individual, that agent of Daqyanus, he was a pious man. He was a pious individual, and he knew why those 7 individuals ran away. So when he went there, when he goes to the cave and he blocks it off, he decides to take a metal slate, and he writes the names of those 7 individuals down. And those 7 individuals who are known as the Ashabul Kahf, their names, there's much ikhtilaf, dispute in their names, meaning you'll find many narrations, but the narration in this tafsir mentions their names: Muksalmina, Yamliha, Martunus, Bainunus, Sarinunus, Dhunavans, Kashfita Nunus. And they had a dog with them by the name of Qitmir. So these 7 individuals and their dog Qitmir, they were in the cave. So that agent of the king, when he blocks off the cave, he writes down the names of these 7 individuals and the name of the dog on a metal slate, puts it inside of a box, and he hides it behind the wall of the cave that he is closing off. And so he goes back to Daqyanus and he tells him that I've blocked off the cave. There's no way for them to escape. In the meantime, those Ashabul Kahf, while they are in the cave, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts them to sleep. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala puts them to sleep, and such a sleep that they are asleep for more than 300 years. So while they are sleeping, while they are resting in the cave, the king Daqyanus, he dies, his time passes, and another king comes, another ruler comes. The eras are passing over these 300 years, and eventually a pious king who believed in Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, because this was after the time of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, after the Injil was revealed. So the king, by the name of Bedrus, he believed in Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam, and now that he is the king, the religion, the deen of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam is spread in this town, in this area. The people are mentioning the name of Sayyidina Isa alayhi salam. They have faith, they have belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and the Anbiya. And during this time, the pious king, he notices that some people are going astray. Some people are going astray, and they are now starting to believe that how is it possible that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would revive the dead? Some people, a group of individuals in his time, are starting to think and question that how is it possible that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would revive the dead? And they start to disbelieve in the akhirah. They start to disbelieve in the akhirah, the hereafter, that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would resurrect everyone. So the king, he goes into his home and he makes dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, crying. He makes a sincere dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, crying that, oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, reveal for this nation, reveal for these people such a sign that they no longer have any doubt in resurrection. That they no longer have any doubt that you will resurrect and revive the dead. So he makes a sincere dua to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And this was more than 300 years after those Ashabul Kahf went to sleep in the cave. Then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, in this time, he causes one individual who wanted to designate a place to take his sheep, a shepherd who had his sheep and his goats. And so this individual, he wanted to designate, he wanted to find a place specific to keep his animals, his sheep and his goat. So he goes to that cave. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala takes him to that cave, and he hires individuals to break down the wall that was put by Daqyanus. He hires individuals to break down that wall. Those individuals that the shepherd hires, they break down that wall, but Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala enters such fear in their hearts that they do not want to go inside that cave. As when they break down the wall, they leave, they run away. And when the sun rises, the Ashabul Kahf, they wake up due to the sunlight. And after they wake up, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions their dialogue, their conversation with each other. That they ask each other that, well, first they wake up and they say salam to each other. And they pray salah, they worship Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And they ask each other that, how long have we been sleeping? So one of them says that 1 day or 2 days at most. But Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala caused them to sleep for how long? 309 years. 300 years, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions 300 years, was dadu tis'a, adding to that 309. So 309 years Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala caused them to sleep. But they think they are feeling that they've slept just for 1 or 2 days. So they send one of their companions that go out and get some food. Go to the shop and bring us some food so that we can eat. And don't take too long. Don't take too long before Daqyanus finds you and arrests you. So Yamlicha, one of the companions, he goes out to get food. And when he is purchasing the food, he takes out his coins, his money, and he gives it, paying for the food. The person at the shop, he looks at those coins and he's saying, "What is this? These coins that you are giving me, this is a coin, or these are coins, this is money that was used hundreds and hundreds of years ago. There's no coin like this, there's no money like this that is used in today's day and age." So the shopkeeper, the person at the shop, he asks him that, "Where is your treasure?" Thinking that this individual who is purchasing the food, he has some sort of treasure where he has wealth from hundreds and hundreds of years ago piled up and collected. So he asks him that, "Where is your treasure? Where did you get these coins from?" So he said, "No, I have no treasure. This is my money." So he tells him that this coin, it says on it that this is from more than 300 years ago. So the shopkeeper, he goes to the hakim, the leader of that town, appointed by the king. And he tells him that, look at what this individual is saying. That he is saying that he has these coins and he has no treasure with him. So Yamlicha, he says that, "What are you talking about? Yesterday, me and my companions, just yesterday, we went out to the cave, hiding from Daqyanus and his fitna. And now we have woken up and I've come to purchase some food. Come, I will show you my companions. I will show you the individuals who we have went with." They were confused that this individual is a young man, and the shopkeeper and the hakim, they are old men and they have never seen this coin before. They have never seen this coin before. So when Yamlicha tells them that, "Come, I will show you the ashab, my companions who I went out with and hid in the cave." So a group of individuals along with the hakim, they go to the cave. Yamlicha, he takes them to the cave. And it's been a long time after this whole conversation with the hakim. It's been a long time. The rest of the Ashab al-Kahf, they're worried. Why is it taking so long? And finally, when they hear someone coming, they hear footsteps, and it seems like a large group of individuals are coming. So it seems like Daqyanus has captured them. And they are now coming to get the rest of the Ashab. So they are thinking that Daqyanus has captured Yamlicha, and they are now coming to capture them. So when they come, they see those individuals and they are praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. They're fearful, but they are praising Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And in this time, the hakim, he calls the king. The hakim, he calls the king, and the king, he made that dua in seclusion. That, "Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, reveal such a sign that these individuals in my nation, they start to again believe in the akhirah." So when Badrus was called and he heard this whole waqiyah that these individuals are presenting these coins from 300 years ago, and that they were in the time of Daqyanus and they went to save their faith, their iman, he saw them and he recognized, he knew that this was a sign that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent. This was a sign that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has sent, and that these individuals are the Ashab al-Kahf who went and hid away from Daqyanus. Then, when they recognize this, and they recognize that these Ashab al-Kahf, they have been sleeping for more than 300 years. These are people who had true iman, they had true taqwa. Then they say salam to the king, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala causes them to fall asleep again, and they pass away right there in the cave. Right when they recognize that this was a sign from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives them death. And they pass away in that cave. Then they find that box, and on that slate it says all of their names. And that individual, that agent, he wrote all of that detail, that these individuals are hiding from Daqyanus to save their iman, to save their faith. The king then ordered that this will be made their shrine. This cave will be their shrine. And this is the day that they have passed away. So every year, we are going to rejoice and commemorate this day. We're going to come and visit this cave, and we're going to celebrate these 7 individuals, their lives, for their sacrifice. So the ulama, they mentioned that this proves that on the days in which the pious predecessors passed, those are very blessed days, and you should be thankful. And you should remember those pious individuals. The orders that we celebrate of the awliya kiram, this waqia is proving that. So those individuals, those names of the Ashabul Kahf that I read, the ulama, they mentioned that these blessed names, the strength and the quwwah of these names is that if you, as a ta'weez, write the names of the Ashabul Kahf on your door, and if you write the names of the Ashabul Kahf on your wealth, then your wealth will never be stolen. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala would protect it. Just how that cave was protected because of the names of the Ashabul Kahf for 300 plus years. If you write the names of the Ashabul Kahf as a ta'weez on your wealth, then your wealth will never be stolen. If you write it on your door, then no thief will enter your door and no harm will enter your home. And many other wazaif that the ulama, they mentioned that with these 7 names, taking the names of these 7 individuals, if someone has ran away or someone is lost, taking the names of the Ashabul Kahf, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will grant such barakah that those individuals will return. That individual who is lost, he would return. So this was the waqia of the Ashabul Kahf. And in that narration that we read yesterday, where Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam was also asked about Dhul Qarnayn. So we've already spent too much time now with this waqia. Inshallah, if Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives us the tawfiq, we will learn what response Sayyidina Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam gave to the kuffar when they asked about Dhul Qarnayn, that who is Dhul Qarnayn. Inshallah, we will talk about that tomorrow, and we will continue from here. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept what has been said, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive any mistakes. Wa akhiru da'wana and alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen. Allahumma salli ala sayyidina wa maulana Muhammadin ma'adin al-judi wal karami wa alihi wa sahbihi wa barik wa sallim. Allahumma rabbana atina fid dunya hasanatan wa fil akhirati hasanatan wa qina adhab an-nar. Allahumma inna nas'aluka ilman nafi'a wa rizqan tayyiba wa amalan mutaqabbala. اللهم صل على سيدنا ومولانا محمد طب القلوب ودوائها وعافية الأبدان وشفائها ونور الأبصار وضيائها وعلى آله وصحبه وبارك وسلم. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. آمين.